Hello, thanks for joining Math with Marcus. Today we're doing a problem about perimeter and area of polygons. So polygons is just a figure that has closed sides, all straight lines. It's a many-sided figure is what it stands for. So here we've got a parallelogram where two pairs of opposite sides are parallel. So those two sides are parallel, and these two sides are parallel. So it's a parallelogram. A good old triangle. And a trapezoid, so it's a four-sided shape, a quadrilateral, where at least one pair of sides are parallel, and we call those its bases. Those are the bases of that trapezoid. All right, so this problem said find the perimeter and the area. I went ahead and just found the perimeter, so this video wouldn't be 15 minutes long. To find the perimeter of a shape, you just add up all of the side lengths, and it's the distance around the figure on the outside. So here if we added 22 plus 18, that would be 40 units. And there'd be two of them, so that's why I times it by 2. So I added those two sides and times it by 2, and that got me 80 centimeters for the perimeter. For this triangle here, if we just added 8 plus 12 and 2/10 plus 16, you'd get 36 and 2 millimeters. And then here for the trapezoid, if I added the 7 plus 8, that got 15, and 15 plus 15 and 14 hundredths is 30 and 14 hundredths, and then if you just add the 4, so I added 7 plus 8 is 15, and then I added 15 and a little bit to get 30 and a little bit, and then added 4 at the end, so 34 and 14 hundredths inches. All right, now the fun part. So for the area of these guys, just how many square units are on the inside of this figure. And for this parallelogram, it's very similar to a rectangle, right? Where you could just cut this corner off, move it over here, and we would have a beautiful rectangle with a height of 17 and a base of 22 centimeters. So the formula is area of a parallelogram is base times height, just like it is for a rectangle. If we plug in our numbers here, we've got a base of 22 and a height of 17. And if you multiply those two guys together, you get 317 square centimeters. So I paused the video and then did the work here. I didn't want to waste time doing that. So 317 square centimeters is what you would get if you multiplied 22 times 17. Here we've got a triangle, and to find the area of the triangle, a couple of formulas that you can use is one of them is base times height divided by 2, or you usually say it like this, base times height divided by 2. And that's, if you think about this, is if I doubled this triangle, if I made a copy of this triangle and then turned it upside down, it would make a beautiful parallelogram. And we know that the formula for the area of a parallelogram is base times height. So you would take the base, which would be 16, which is 16, and multiply it by the height, 6. Right, just like we did for the parallelogram. But we don't have the parallelogram, we only have the triangle. So afterwards we need to divide it by 2. So afterwards we divide it by 2. And if we do that, we get 16. 16 times 2 is at 96. 96, and then we divide 96 by 2. So 48 square millimeters. The other way to deal with the triangle is to use the formula area equals half times base times height. And if you think about it, you can think about cutting here and folding that up, and cutting here and folding this up, and you have a nice beautiful rectangle now. And we took half of the height, so area is half, and we took half the base on this time. So instead of 16, we would get 8. So instead of it being 16, we no longer have these pieces, and we have an 8 times 6, which is 48 square millimeters. So that's the other way to deal with a triangle. A trapezoid now. Trapezoid is the fun one. So for a trapezoid, you've got a couple different formulas. One of them is to do just like you did with a triangle and double it, and when you do, you end up with a parallelogram again. And the formula for a parallelogram is base times height. But if you notice that once we doubled the shape, we have the first base that we call base 1. And now we've got the second base, also base 2 is now here. So this is now 4. So if we want to find the area of this shape, we need to do this. So the area equals base 1 plus base 2. Base 1 plus base 2 times the height. But that's for 2 trapezoids. So again, divide by 2. So let's do this. So base 1 plus base 2, that's 15 and 14/10 plus 4, or 14/100, sorry. And we're going to multiply that by 5 times 5, and then we're going to divide it by 2. So parentheses first, 15 and 14/100 plus 4 is 19 and 14/100 times 5 divided by 2. So 19 and 14/100 times 5. To multiply like the decimal wasn't there. 5 times 4 is 20, carry the 2. 5 times 1, 5, plus 2 is 7. 5 times 9, 45. 5 times 1 is 5. 5 plus 4 is 9. So there are 2 decimal places in my factors here. So I'm going to move the decimal place twice. And I'm just thinking this is close to 20, and 20 times 5 is 100. So my answer should be close to 100. So that means that we've got 95 and 7/10 divided by 2, and that'll be our answer. So let's take that. Let's take 95 and 7/10 and divide by 2. So 2 goes into 9 4 times. 4 times 2 is 8. 1 remainder. Bring the 5 down. 2 times 5. 2 goes into 15 7 times. 14, remainder of 1. Here's our decimal. Decimal goes straight up into our quotient there. 2 goes into 16 8 times. 2 times 18 is 2 times 8 is 16 with a remainder of 1. Let's continue our division problem by adding on a 0 here. We can just add 0/100ths. And that won't change this number. This is still 95.7. 95.70 is the same. It's just 0/100ths here. And 2 goes into 10 5 times. 2 times 5 is 10, no remainder. We are done. So the area of this trapezoid is 47 and 85/100ths square inches. All right. The other way to think about these trapezoids are a couple cool ways, right? You could have cut it in half. And folded the top down. You would still have this top base. You would still have this top base here come down here. And your formula, instead of dividing by 2 at the end, you would have divided the height by 2 right at the beginning, and you would have done base 1 plus base 2 times half of the height. So that's another way. Another way to think about trapezoids, if you wanted to take these triangle parts, and then cut half of this, bring that up, and then cut half of this triangle, bring that up. What that does is that would balance the bases out. And so you've got a nice rectangle here. You've got a nice rectangle that is more than 4 inches and less than 15 and 14/100 inches. It's right in the middle. It would be the average. All right. Hope that helped. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to subscribe. Hit the like button or something. Notification, something. And catch you guys around.